for some peace of mind. But TikTok said a gator drove a Jeep through the blinds. Florida man's at it again with fireworks and a goat. And someone married a ghost in a Dollar Tree coat. Hey, what in the Walmart rapture is going on? Aliens dancing in a Waffle House song. Karen's got a taser in the checkout line. And Dr. Oz just adopted birds to fight off crime. Oh, I'm just sitting here scrolling my jaw on the floor. The internet's a circus and I can't take no more. Yeah, when it's wildin', there's a raccoon in the sink. Someone robbed a Wendy's just to steal a frosty drink. A pastor's gone viral yelling about the end is near, while folks ride hoverboards in wedding gear. Yeah, what in the Walmart rapture is this mess? Florida's a movie, but it's filmed in VHS. Someone fed meth to a squirrel named Dave, and now he's in a cage just throwing rave. I'm just
Good morning, everyone. It is the 13th of September. We have all survived this week of just a lot of emotions and BS, and apparently it decided to be freezing today in Indiana, so my body is like, no, we are not moving. We are not doing anything. So I've been pulling stories, and I actually pulled stories a bit faster than, and we can look up if there's stories you guys want me to cover. Saturdays are a bit less structured, a bit more fun and kind of, loosey-goosey, but still bringing you the headlines. And welcome Denise and Patrick and Esprit and Brokenhearted, Jason and Christine. Thank you for being a member for 22 months. Your support has been just beyond measure and beyond words, and thank you so much. Good morning, JKD Buck. Oh, a live workout stream. Well, I saved you. If anyone would like to know my glamorous plan today, I plan to be making giant pots of soups that I can make and then freeze for this coming week when I'll be kind of out of action for the first 3 days. Now, I do plan to do a morning with Mo on Monday. Tuesday, I am not quite sure about. Tuesday is going to be the wild card. I don't technically go in for my infusions until afternoon, but they do tend to knock me quite spectacularly on my behind, so we're not sure. I'll play it by ear. I might have some afternoon streams or things like that. We don't know. Hopefully I can get my laptop working a little bit better. Our first story, and this is going to be all over the news. This is probably going to be dominating your news for a long time. But it looks like there is body cam or at least media footage of when federal agents descended on Tyler Robinson's Utah apartment and childhood home after his arrest. So it does look like we are probably going to get a little bit more information. Yes, and I love that. Thank you, JKD Buck. Yes, if you are making soups and you don't have look, you don't have the time or the energy right now to make your own stocks. Better than bouillon, the soup base is really good. Watch how you mix it and taste your base though, because it can be quite salty. It can be quite, if you're sensitive to salt or sodium, it can be a little much. Now, federal agents and local police raced to the Utah apartment and childhood home of accused Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson on Friday. Excuse me. Executing search warrants and confiscating the alleged gunman's Dodge Challenger. Now, the heavy police presence overtook the quiet Fossil Hills townhome community in St. George, Utah, where the 22-year-old suspect lived over 260 miles south of Utah Valley University, according to Fox 13, Salt Lake City. So this does add another layer in my perception of the premeditatedness of this. The fact that this was so far away from his kind of nexus of being his parents' home and where he was living does does seem to add another level of just premeditation and planning to this. Now, footage captured several marked and unmarked enforcement cars parked inside police taped off areas outside the townhome. Now, federal agents were also seen outside Robinson's family home in nearby Washington, while a tow truck loaded a gray Dodge Challenger that was parked outside the home. Now, this footage was from CBS. Police believe that Robinson drove the muscle car to the college campus in Orem hours before allegedly firing the single fatal shot, taking, 31-year-old Turning Point's Charlie Kirk's life. Now, Kirk was pronounced dead shortly after the shooting. His body has since been flown back to his hometown in Arizona, escorted by Vice President J.D. Vance, boarding Air Force Two. And I haven't gotten to see it yet, but I know it has been remarkably powerful. Honestly, yesterday I didn't watch it because I just didn't think I would be able to handle it. But I know that uh, Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica, made a statement, and I do plan on watching that today. Probably won't be doing a stream on it. I would not be able to maintain my composure. And, I think she does a wonderful job from what I've heard, being eloquent and poignant all on her own. Now, Robinson's neighbors were left stunned in disbelief after learning the accused killer lived in their Washington County community that sits on the Utah-Arizona border. I just know them as very good people. Alina Shaw told, local Fox affiliate in their locality, they were quiet and kept to themselves a lot, but whenever I needed anything, they've been able to come over and help graciously and kindly. Now, Robinson, is a third-year student at Dixie Technical College in St. George after attending Utah State University. One of his classmates was shocked to find out that Robinson was the accused assassin. It's been a shock ever since he found out about. Since I found out about the incident, Carson Knight told the outlet, and then I heard he was from St. George, and I'm like, man, that's crazy. And then I see a picture of him, and I'm like, I know this guy. I've seen him. I'm pretty sure I went to school with him. Now, Robinson was identified by his father through surveillance photos released by the police. The elder Robinson confronted his son, who allegedly did admit to being the shadowy figure in the photos. Now, he was then turned in by his father, but said he would rather self-delete and hand himself in, which is probably why when we see his photos, he is in the turtle outfit. Again, this is a very high profile thing. He is probably going to be segregated for his safety, for his high profiledness. And I don't know where we go from here, guys. I don't know if the federal, Department of Justice federally is going to look at any civil rights violations for Charlie Kirk. That could be an option. I'm not a lawyerologist, but I do foresee this young man, and again, he is innocent until proven guilty. Even if he confessed, the state still needs to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he did this. So while I want to rage, while I want to scream, I have to hold firm to the values of our imperfect justice system as it is. Now, officials confirmed that Robinson was wearing the same or similar style clothes to what he, was wearing at the time he did this incident, allegedly. Now, the gunman perched himself on top of a rooftop of a building near the center of campus and fired a single shot from a 30-06 caliber Mauser bolt-action rifle. Now, the shells recovered by police had engravings on them, including messages used, again, to promote furries and trolling, and also vehemently protesting Charlie Kirk's stance on transgender issues and different other things. Now, in what I would like to say is I see a lot of stories. I could have done an entire stream of people deciding to put their hot takes on the internet and then getting, upset. Now, I do want to put this up there. Again, we don't know a lot. This is, something, but it is going to be something you might see from people who question the mainstream media's narrative on this. And it will probably be something that comes out in the trial, or at least in the investigation, to see if there was any coordination with other members of either people who were opposed to Charlie Kirk or members in the crowd. I know this is a theory that's going around there, and this is the only confirmed article from a, mainstream source or an AP source that I could find with something like that. A mystery bearded man who appeared to be cheering the shooting of Charlie Kirk's claimed that he was shouting USA to create a distraction. And again, information is coming out of a hose. Don't, trust exactly what you see on the internet until it's confirmed. This man very well could have been trying to make a distraction to let other people flee, or he could have been providing a distraction. Let's let the investigation go. The mystery bearded man who appeared to be celebrating in the crowd moments after Charlie was shot claimed that he wasn't cheering at all. He was shouting USA to create a distraction that might have helped save other lives. Now, the man going by David on X claims to have been the person seen in the viral video filmed at Utah Valley University and posted a 2-minute statement in which he attempts to explain himself. When I heard the sharp crack at first, I thought it might have been fireworks or a disruptive prank, the man said, appearing to be in the same tan-colored backwards t-shirt cap that he had been wearing in the video. I looked up for the horizon for smoke. When none appeared, I realized it must have been a firearm, he said in a monotonous voice. His eyes, and not everyone is comfortable looking into a camera. In fact, if you look at my very first videos, you can tell that I look like I'm having a hostage negotiation. So again, as we are getting all this information, let's try to keep a clear head. Let's try to wait for evidence and not rush to hastiness. And he did seem to be stumbling over words like he was reading from a statement that he had written down. He said, based on a friend's reaction, he believed that Charlie had been gravely injured and instinctively checked the security team's movement before rising to his feet. I stood and shouted USA, not as a provocation, but as a way to project strength, encourage others, and possibly create a distraction that might calm panic or even save lives. Now, it claims he was only minimally familiar with, Kirk's content, but would never wish to celebrate harm upon anyone. Now, a short time later, he posted another rambling follow-up video, calling himself the happiest person you've ever met in your life, claiming to be sick of, people going down. So I don't know. Again, we are going to have a lot of things like this, people that are tangentially brought in, and we need to exercise some discernment and some wait and see until facts come out. So I don't know what actually happened there. I wasn't there. So until we get, more information, and this case still has to go through all of the legal, pretrial hearings and everything else that we would expect from any other high profile case. So who knows is all I've got to say about this one, but I did want to give you guys the updates that I'm aware of right now. In other true crime news, it looks like Brian Walsh was stabbed in a Massachusetts jail ahead of his trial for his wife's death. Now, Brian Walsh, a Massachusetts man accused in the taking of his wife's life and also dismemberment of her body afterwards, was attacked in jail on Thursday, just weeks ahead of his murder trial. Walshe, look, I will be very honest. I am not great with names, and there are so many people around, or so many true crime cases, that I can't keep up with all of them. So I might be mispronouncing his name terribly. The Norfolk County Sheriff's Office didn't identify Walsh as the victim, but his lawyer, Larry Tipton, did confirm to MassLive.com that Walsh was stabbed. Now, Walsh was taken to Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston for treatment and then returned to the jail overnight, the sheriff's office did announce in a statement. The other individual involved was subdued by officers, and the makeshift blunt instrument was recovered. Now, the incident is being investigated. Walsh is accused of killing and dismembering his wife, Anna, in January 2023 and was scheduled to go to trial in October of this year. Now, Anna Walsh was a mother of 3 young children and a real estate professional who worked in Washington, D.C., and disappeared on New Year's Day in 2023, reported missing a few days later. Now, her body has never been recovered. Brian Walsh was captured on Home Depot surveillance video buying various items that could be colloquially termed a murder kit. You know, by to include 3 mops, brushes, splash-resistant goggles, a utility knife. Now, investigators believed that he utilized all of those items to dispose of his wife's body. During the search for Anna, investigators found a hacksaw with a small bone fragment in a dumpster across the street from Walsh's mother's home. Now, in the days after his wife's disappearance, he allegedly used his son's iPad to make over a dozen Google searches about how to discard a body, prosecutors said. Also, before the disappearance, he had hired a private investigator because he had suspected his wife of cheating on him. And again, regardless of whether she was cheating or not, she did not deserve to leave her children like she did, and to not even have a place for her family to mourn her. Now, at the time, the couple's marriage was on the rocks because of Brian's unrelated legal troubles. Now, from what I vaguely remember about this case, Brian was convicted or implicated, and I do think adjudicated, of selling fraudulent, stolen artwork, and was supposed to be paying restitution and doing probation or parole for that. I will have to deep dive back into this case. Honestly, I've forgotten a lot about it, but I think that's something that I vaguely remember. So take that with a grain or a pound of salt. Now, Motley Crue's Vince Neil says that he suffered a stroke last December and had to relearn to walk. Motley Crue's Vince Neil said he suffered a stroke last year and had to relearn to walk again. In a new interview with Las Vegas Review-Journal, the Motley Crue frontman revealed that his stroke recovery was the reason why the band had to postpone its Vegas residency, which just started on Friday night. I had a stroke and my whole left side went out, he told the outlet, explaining that the health scare happened while he was sleeping on Christmas night last year. I had to learn to walk again, and that was tough. Doctors said, I don't think I'd be able to go back on stage again. But I said, no, I'm going to do it. Watch and see. Now, back in March, Neil shared that, that the band, which he comprises with Tommy Lee and Nikki Sixx and new guitarist Johnny Five, would push back the residency from March-April to September over a vocal procedure. My health is a top priority, so I can bring you the most awesome shows that you deserve, and I can't wait to return to stage, he said in a statement at the time. However, far from being just a minor vocal issue, it was recovery from this stroke. Now, to the Vegas paper, he explained that he did physical therapy for months in Nashville and had to work himself out of a wheelchair since the stroke had affected his mobility. I went from people carrying me to the restroom because I couldn't walk to finally using a wheelchair, he told the outlet. Then I graduated to a walker, then a cane. Now I don't need anything, but it's like a full-time job to get back where you can feel good again and function. While his voice wasn't affected, it takes a while to get your brain to start moving your legs and for them to do what your brain wants to do. You try to walk, but it doesn't come out right, he explained, adding that he's around 95% back to where he was before. Now, the Motley Crue residency will kick off at Dolby Live Park at Park MGM in Las Vegas on Friday night. Now, they're expected to perform multiple days in September and into October. So there you go. Motley Crue is back. Well, in other legal or slightly legal, semi-legal, or at least Hollywood legal news, Taylor Swift could be forced to sit for a deposition in the Blake Lively Justin Baldoni legal case. Now, I do know that Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively were big friends. I don't know if they are now. I don't tend to keep tabs on either of these two chicks, so I don't know about that, but with the defamation, with I know Blake's allegations that Taylor would protect her from any sort of public defamation, this might be something that Justin's lawyers want to investigate as to how much of a role Taylor Swift did have in any sort of legal questions with, these two. Taylor Swift could be forced to dish about former bestie Blake Lively as the actress continues to duke it out with Blake or Justin Baldoni, a move that could give his side a boost, according to court documents obtained by the Post on Friday. Now, Baldoni's lawyers claim that the mega pop star, who's been friends with the It Ends With Us star since 2015, agreed to be deposed by his team, according to a Manhattan federal court document. The Bad Blood singer's lawyer, Douglas Balderidge, clarified in a letter to the court Friday that Swift did not agree to a deposition but merely provided dates which she would be available in case Baldoni won a judge's order to enforce the subpoena. Now, Swift, whose new album, Life of a Showgirl, is expected to drop on October 3rd, won't be free until the week of October 20th, according to the letter. Now, the judge has yet to rule whether Swift will have to testify or be deposed at all. The 14-time Grammy winner, who is a godmother to Lively and her Deadpool actor's husband's Ryan Reynolds' daughters, was first dragged into the ugly legal battle between the feuding co-stars in May when Baldoni's side first sought to depose her. Now, Baldoni claimed that his since dismissed lawsuit, or at least right now it is, that since Lively or against Lively, that Swift was present for his pivotal meeting with the former Gossip Girl star at their penthouse and shares with Reynolds about allegedly rewriting the infamous rooftop scene from this film. So I'm not going to go into the full article because honestly, they're two Holly weirdos fighting it out about something I don't care about in a movie I didn't see. That being said, it is interesting on a legal perspective to see how and if she will have to be deposed, and then if there was anything sort of hinky going on in the buildup to this trial. That being said, I'd much rather wait for the court documents. I don't want to have to listen to publicists and spin and ridiculousness. I'd rather just look at the plain, unemotional legal documentation. Well, if you're looking for a new snack as you're going into the grocery store, apparently the Girl Scouts are bringing us some new cookies. The Girl Scouts are trying a new Exploramores cookie flavor in the upcoming season, but the sales have not been great. Probably because they're daggone dollars a box, and Aldi, Baker just for you. Aldi sells some, and so does Walmart, and you can get them for $2. And I'm not spending that to just get Samoas when they don't last in my house, for 5 minutes longer than I get them home, unless I put them in the freezer, and then it's about 1 day max. The Girl Scouts are taking the rocky road to beat recession. Today, Girl Scouts of USA announced a brand new flavor for the 2026 cookie season. Exploramores are a rocky road ice cream inspired cookie sandwich with flavors of chocolate, marshmallow, and toasted almond flavored cream. Now, in a press release, they say that Exploramores reflect the spirit of exploration and at the heart of every Girl Scout. The new cookies will be available next year nationally, both online and in person at local booths, alongside fan favorites like Thin Mints. So other flavors that you can expect for the 2026 lineup include Adventurefuls, Caramel Chocolate Chip, Samoas, Do-si-dos, Lemonades, Lemon Ups, Tagalongs, Toffee-tastics, and trefoils. I mean, honest to goodness, I cannot be bothered to spend $6. In it, So there you go. Now the s'mores were so this is not, a new concept. The Girl Scouts have, put out s'mores or different kind of marshmallowy kind of cookies. So there you go. We are going to have. Now the new cookie comes after a rough 2024-2025 season in which sales for Girl Scout cookies tumbled to, well, and this is just in greater New York. But I do know that I think a lot of local clubs are struggling because people don't have a lot of extra money right now, and it's just a reality. And $6 for a box of cookies is one of the first things you'd probably, tighten your belt buckle and not get. Now they are down for, or they're down to just 1.1 million boxes, down from 1.2 million boxes the previous year, which was their lowest sale in the region since 2013. Now, the Girl Scouts of the USA continue to try to encourage young girls to unbox a world of possibility and develop entrepreneurial skills such as goal setting and decision making, along with money management and people skills with their cookie sale kind of project. With each cookie box sold, customers are supporting Girl Scouts as they learn, grow, and thrive through life's adventures. So there you go. If you want to, and I'm not saying don't buy them. If you have a little kid, if you feel extra, froggy and charitable and want to make a little kiddo's day, I'm just probably going to be buying the Girl Scout cookies from the local Walmart, the great value kind. Well, dreams come true. And I can't say that marching in a marching band has been one of my dreams, but if it's your dream and you made it come true, then that's pretty doggone awesome. A retired Louisiana accountant, Kent Brouchard, 66, fulfills a lifelong dream of joining LSU marching band. A 66-year-old former accountant wasn't afraid to march to his own beat. Retiree Ken Broussard enrolled in Louisiana State University and became a freshman this year to fulfill his childhood dream of playing on the school or in the school's iconic marching band. Now, he is a Baton Rouge resident and said he kickstarted this idea when he was winding down his career in the corporate world. I had a conversation with my wife and family about 5 years ago and said, what I want to do when I retire is I want to enroll in LSU and I want to try out for the Tiger Band. Now, the lifelong Louisianan who plays the sousaphone didn't get any special treatment as he inched his way towards his vision of marching in the prestigious 325 member band dubbed the Golden Band from Tigerland. He successfully applied to LSU and, like every other student, was required to attend classes, study for tests, and complete assignments. I had to enroll at LSU, Bossard said. I had to go through the whole process just like everyone does. And then I really had to plan, how am I going to do the Tiger Band? Now, he's a former global executive in the alcoholic beverage industry and needed to get into shape and boost his musical talents, which he admitted had gotten a little rusty. The former beverage boss said he hadn't touched his instrument in nearly 45 years and spent a year learning how to read sheet music and play the sousaphone from an LSU graduate assistant, Matthew Thompson. I played every day, practiced sometimes until midnight. I hadn't played since my 20s, but it started coming back, and my family, they were 100% behind me. The LSU fan even started running with a weighted vest and carrying his 30-pound sousaphone around the neighborhood. Now, all of his hard work paid off when he saw his name on the roster for the Grammy-nominated band in 2025-2026 school year. The instant I saw it, several of the returning members saw it too, and they started hollering and screaming. The percussion group next door came in, and about 30 people were jumping up and down. It was just the greatest moment. Now, he is the oldest member of the historic band by 41 years. He has the full support of his family, even though his wife Cheryl was initially confused by his bucket list, thing. At first, I was like, do they have a senior band? Cheryl quipped during an interview with CBS News. I mean, I wasn't sure exactly what he was talking about, and it was the real band. Now he's focused on his college courses on top of music as required by band. All the members of the band must be full-time students at LSU and must have a minimum 2.0 cumulative GPA to remain in good academic standing with the university. Now, he made his debut on the field of Tiger Stadium during the football team's home opener on Saturday, playing songs from Wizard of Oz, The Wiz, and Wicked. So there you go. The boys are being forced to work on, you know, fair point. He must not have been marching at the time. Well, we have some final form Jesus for you guys this morning because, well, it's Saturday and I like to find the weird stories. So here they are, some final form Jesus for your morning because, well, I mean, we need some help, Lord. Sometimes we do.
A G-keeped grove, thou gloaming shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, final form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack glistening, sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
Well, in headlines I never thought I'd say, police reunite a stowaway pet pigeon with an owner in Texas. Police in Texas reunited a man with his blind pigeon after the pet bird decided to hitch a ride in the bed of his pickup truck at the owner's business. Now, Luis Valdez, owner of L&R Auto Service, said his pet pigeon, Kevin, is well known by customers at his Irving business. He's home with me on the weekend. My whole family knows him, and many of my customers now know him. They go straight to see him, Valdez told NBC affiliate DFW. Now, Valdez said he adopted Kevin after finding the featherless bird had been kicked out of his mother's nest. He says that Kevin is blind and unable to fly, so he was concerned when the pigeon went missing from his shop after inspecting a customer's truck. Now, he contacted the Irving police, who were able to track down the customer. I'm about to tell you the weirdest thing you've ever heard, the officer tells the owners or the truck owners in body cam footage posted to social media. Now, the officer confirmed that the owner had just had their truck inspected at the auto service and agreed to let the officers take a look, and the police were able to safely find Kevin in the back of the truck. Is the pigeon under arrest? The officer joked in the video. Police did bring Kevin back to reunite with his, owner, so that's always good. And yeah, I think y'all need to go out and touch grass because this is the weirdest damn article I have ever seen in my life. And y'all know what I do for a living. I find like weird articles. Are humans watching animals too closely? Okay. Charles Darwin once noticed that natural selection tends to preserve traits that conceal an animal in nature. It can paint camouflage onto their bodies with astonishing quickness. Uh, okay, but why are we worried about whether we're invading animals' privacy? I need to get to the part of the article where So humans are closing in on a real-time God's eye view of this planet. Some of the subsurface places have yet to be, still remain unmonitored. But apparently, according to some activists, we are too preoccupied with animals. We are watching them and invading their privacy. I give up. I don't understand these people. Yeah, okay, so cities are the most potent nodes of global animal panopticon. What in the name of made up words? CCTV cameras stake out big public places, and ring cameras peer out onto quieter streets. Smartphone toting humans wander everywhere in between, geotagging photos of animals, including those in their home. Now, many animals appear to be entirely unbothered by all of this surveillance. Raccoons may show interest in cameras after they flash, but then move on quickly, while birds have a mixed response. I don't think the animals are going to sue us, for 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 watching them and taking cameras. I asked Alexandra Hernandez, who researches dog cognition at Bernard, if, the dog Forrest might be experiencing something akin to embarrassment if his owners watch him. I give up. Look, this is the I can't. And it goes on forever. Forever about how we are invading the privacy of animals. We are going to do you know what? I'm going to do a long article on this because we are just going to roast the ever living hell out of the fact that this woman thinks pigeons deserve privacy or person. I say woman, but I could be Ross Anderson, apparently man. I apologize, sir. Apparently this man thinks that we're, we're surveilling our animals. Speaking of animals though, and we we don't like being jerked to animals. So whoever did this is a gold-plated jackass and needs to be named and shamed. Connecticut animal activists are seeking the jerks who painted, two squirrels in neon spray paint, basically. Connecticut animal control officers are trying to track down the tasteless idiots responsible for painting at least two innocent squirrels in bright neon colors. We've got a report about two squirrels that appeared to have been painted in the area of Newbach Avenue and High Street. East Hartford Animal Control posted on Facebook Monday. While they appear to be okay, we are looking for the identity of whoever's responsible for this. Now, photos showed one bushy-tailed friend painted red while the other one was painted blue as it snapped, as both of them appeared to be doing just relatively normal squirrel things, but still, this is dill hole behavior. We don't mess with squirrels, we don't mess with animals just trying to live their lives. I mean, we're already invading their privacy, according to some. Now, as of Friday, there was no suspect, but the comment section of the animal control announcement provided a plethora of potential reasons that they got it coded. Nothing to see here, just a couple of gender reveal squirrels, one person commented. Great, now squirrels are getting involved in politics. This is getting out of hand, another one chimed in. Gangs are recruiting squirrels now. They're not afraid of little East Hartford streets. Animal activists have had great recent success trying to rally the cause of squirrels. Ongoing litigation with New York State could see the Empire State pay out, well, close to $1 million in damages to the owner of Peanut the squirrel and Fred the raccoon, who were summarily executed by the Environmental Conservation and Health Department last October. So, and thank goodness this wasn't me, but congratulations, mom and dad, you owe mom like the Mother's Day gift of all Mother's Day gifts. A Florida mother was stunned after giving birth to a massive record-breaking baby. Holy chonk. Yeah, that is a big old boy. A Florida mother was left stunned when she gave birth to a baby boy nearly twice the size of an average newborn, an enormous bundle of joy that set a new hospital record. Daniela Hines, 40, told Today that she felt unusual pain and pressure during her C-section at St. Joseph's Hospital on September 3rd, but it all made sense when the nurses revealed her massive 13-pound, 15-ounce son named Anan. Yeah, that's a huge baby. It felt like so much pressure. He was so big. I was like, whose baby is this when he came out? Now, the mom of two said she felt discomfort when she had, had a C-section before, but it was very different than when she had her older son. Now, her older son was no lightweight. He was 12 pounds, 11 ounces. Now, Hines is an entrepreneur that credits both her and her husband's 6-foot stature for their baby's larger size. He is the talk of the maternity ward, she shared with the outlet. Everyone started coming in because it's not every day that you see an almost 14-pound baby pop out. He's kind of a little celebrity. Hospital shared photos of the big baby on Facebook, calling Anan a miracle and boasting that he might be the biggest baby ever born there. Now, Hines was diagnosed with gestational diabetes in her pregnancy, which can lead to larger babies, basically the extra blood sugar, the insulin is given to the baby, and they do tend to grow larger. It is something that they watch for. So I'm sure because they knew she had gestational diabetes, they probably were keeping an eye on her because you can get really large babies that are very hard to deliver. Now, she said that Anan is really chill until hunger strikes. Then he really loves, eating and growing. I didn't expect such a big blessing, the doting mother said, but it's just more to love, and I can't wait to show him when he gets older. Like, look at you, you were in the news. Now, according to Guinness World Records, the heaviest baby on record weighed 22 pounds and was born in 1955, Italy. And since we're on baby, look at the head of hair on this kiddo. I want this kiddo's head of hair. Also, Sarah Boone would like her hairstyle back. A baby is going viral for his wild head of hair at 5 months, and no, his mom doesn't plan to cut it anytime soon. Look at that kitty patootie. Let's see. Liliana Yanez, her baby son, his hair has always been the center of attention. Now, the mom of two, Noah, 5 months, has been going viral for his thick head of black, just luscious hair. Whether it's from one of the numerous videos that Yanez has posted on her TikTok or in family outings in public, she says that her son's hair always garners big attention. Thankfully, he's gotten nothing but positive comments and reactions from the public, but it's definitely overwhelming. I'm slowly getting used to it. It's just mentally getting prepared now for when we go to the store or have to take the kids for a walk. With videos of her son now going viral, Noah is under more scrutiny from the public. The boy mom shares that online space is definitely a different environment. Social media is definitely a different environment. People don't care, if they're rude through a screen or make unnecessary comments when so many people are being just nice and funny. It doesn't hurt to be kind, she said. I just block the ones I've caught and ignore the rest. Baby Noah entered the world with a thick head of full hair, which is an attribute that he apparently inherited from his mother. As for maintaining her son's hair, she hasn't done anything special to it. Honestly, there isn't any special thing I do or any kind of routine. I tend to switch his shampoo here and there depending on what I want him to smell like that day. But some days I want him to smell like lavender, others chamomile, and I also love using the Purple Johnson shampoo. In fact, she tells people that her son's hair is actually hard to style due to its density and the way it grows. It's actually kind of hard to style his hair because he has so much and just crazy cowlicks and I have to use a lot of hair gel or it won't stay put. At one point, I decided to let his hair just be free because it looked so uncomfortable with the amount of gel that needed to be used to kind of fix it. So there you go. She's not ready for the big haircut yet, but definitely this is the cutest kid, and it in no way looks like she put a wig on him, except that he does kind of look like baby Ron Burgundy to me. So that's always good. In, some happier stories, or at least some heartwarming stories to get our, week going. Sierra, look, I should do more work in pop culture, says Russell Wilson was able to convince a dying teen with 12 hours to live to stick with treatment, and now he's in remission. We need good stories about people using their platforms to help people, without expectations of reward. Sierra was bragging on her husband, Russell Wilson, when he was able to help convince a teenager with leukemia to stick with stem cell therapy by telling him about his father and how that ended up, motivating him to stick with therapy and possibly saving his life. You talk about being able to be a part of saving someone's life, essentially. It's such a gift. The Grammy-winning singer, 39, told Power 106 Los Angeles on Wednesday, September 10th, during an appearance at the station's studios. While discussing her and Wilson's nonprofit Children's Foundation, Why Not You, she shared the story of Wilson's encounter with Milton Wright, a then 19-year-old who was struggling with his third round of leukemia. Wilson said, now She said that Wilson convinced this child to stick with the stem cell therapy. The kid didn't want to try it. He had 12 hours left. He just didn't want to. But he went in and talked with him and convinced him, hey, kid, he told him his story about losing his father, everything. Before you know it, the kid had changed his mind and got up and wanted to do the treatment. Wilson's father, Harrison, died in 2010 at the age of 55 from diabetes complications. The New York Giants quarterback wrote about what he told Wright in the Players Tribune, where he explained that Wright had a bad reaction to stem cell therapy and what Wilson described as the final option to save his life, and why he was considering stopping his treatment. Wright told him about his father losing the ability to walk and see when doctors told him he had 24 hours. He kept on fighting for 2 more years. I told Milton to keep fighting just like my father had, Wilson wrote, adding that the teenager has gone into remission. Before you know it, that kid changed his mind and got up and said, I want to try it. Now fast forward to this kid in the hospital telling other kids to try it. You think about it like the power in that, Sierra continued. It was such a blessing, and we're basically just big on encouraging people to have a why not you attitude because we still have to tap into that ourselves. We have to know our power, right? Why not you? It's really special to us, near and dear to our hearts. So I love seeing this. If you have a platform, if you have a voice, using it to spread good works and kindness is exceptional. Well, I mean, that's not the kind of chemical peel that I think she was looking for. My session with a celebrity esthetician left me burned, scarred, and irreparably damaged. I mean, I've never been to an esthetician, so I don't know what to tell you guys, but make sure that they're licensed and bonded or accredited or whatever so you don't end up with a facial scar. A Los Angeles woman claims that a session with a celebrity esthetician whose clients have included Gwyneth Paltrow, Jennifer Lawrence, and Jennifer Lopez left her face burned and scarred and along with irreparable damage. Victoria Nielsen said in a viral TikTok and on Instagram post that she's been seeing Sonia Dakar in her Beverly Hills clinic for years to treat her acne and became enthralled, even referring to Dakar as her LA mom. But when Dakar suggested she try a chemical peel, things went awry. Nielsen said she was permanently disfigured by the results, and a dermatologist later asked her why she hadn't immediately been sent to a hospital burn unit. In 2021, Nielsen was getting a routine facial when she claims that Dakar suggested that they finish with a chemical peel. Now, Nielsen said she trusted Dakar as an expert who knew my skin better than anyone else, who also liked the idea of the peel, requiring no downtime or no irritation. But the moment that the chemicals hit her face, she felt an immediate burning, stinging sensation. And she says when she told the doctor that she was, or the esthetician that she was in pain, the solution was rinsed off and she was given a fan to cool her face down. But, these are not things that you can cool down. These are chemical burns. She should have been sent to a hospital to at least, alleviate and try to figure out how they were going to move forward with this chemical burn. Now, Nielsen claims that Dakar assured her that she would be fine and that these burns were not permanent. She described herself in the following week as the most terrible I've ever felt about myself. She sent daily photos and updates to Dakar, who was fielding questions from strangers about whether she had been in an accident or, some kind of issue. Then the text messages were shared with the post, showed Nielsen sending images of her scabbing to Dakar, who advised her on how to take care of it. Now she continued to see Dakar in her clinic, hopeful that a follow-up treatment would reverse the side effects of the burn. Now she did. Okay, but you continue to go back to this woman who burnt your face for 30 more sessions. I mean, I can feel sympathy for you and still wonder at why you did that. Now, she did return back to at least 30 sessions between 2021 and 2022, which cost her around $30,000. Again, I don't know why you went back to a lady who did this to your face. Why would you go back? No, I have some questions. I need you to explain this to me. So again, when you're getting some of these treatments done, be sure that you're very honest about all the medications that you're on. Some medications make your skin incredibly sensitive to certain things, like even just sunlight. So, don't do this, and don't continue to go to someone who burned you. I can't with people. I really can't. Well, we've got a lot of Lord Chippy today, so without further ado, let's get into this. We've got some, well, monsters to name and shame, and some possible cold cases that might be coming back to life.
They're our skin, they steal our grace. These monsters wear a human face. No gavel, no badge, no throne, no crown can stop Lord Chippy from burning them down. Justice ain't fast, justice ain't clean. It's a long, sharp road through the in-between. So raise your fists and light your flames. Chippy's coming and he don't play games.
He claims it was a setup. He's pled not guilty. I'm sure I believe him. An Arkansas man has pled not guilty to locking himself in a restroom with a bottle of baby lotion and a phone full of child grossness. Yeah, you were going in there to look at stocks, I'm sure. A Prairie Grove man accused of being found in a woman's restroom stall with a bottle of lotion and an iPhone still filled with child grossness material has pled not guilty, according to court documents. Silas Smith, 21, was arrested on August the 20th by Fayetteville Police Department for 10 counts of disturbing, possessing, distributing, possessing, or viewing child grossness, and 4 counts of video voyeurism. Now, he pled not guilty during his arraignment on September 12th and was given a November 14th court date, according to Washington County Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Dennis Dean. Now, the primary report from FPD said that officers responded to a call at a Walmart superstore center on Martin Luther King Boulevard on July 30th about a man, in the women's restroom. Officers found Smith locked in a stall in the women's restroom. Near him were 2 wine coolers and a travel-sized bottle of baby lotion, and a report that Smith had oil on his hands and his phone. Now, officers then seized his phone. Reports said that officers located a female victim who was using the restroom in one of the stalls when she saw a man looking over the stalls. Now, the woman told police she heard sounds that led her believe he was giving himself quite a vigorous handshake, if you will. According to the report, police noticed signs of intoxication from Smith, who was arrested for loitering, criminal trespass, and public intoxication. Now, on July 31st, investigators were given a search warrant for Smith's phone. The report says that they found multiple videos of women being filmed while using the restroom at Walmart, along with other voyeuristic videos. They, however, also found 187 digital files containing child grossness. They also found messages on Smith's phone about him buying and trading child grossness on encrypted apps. Reports say that many of the images that he wanted younger children to look at. They found over 30 voyeuristic videos that he had recorded, including women who had actually made the complaint. Now, police say they found multiple files of him recording women who were shopping in Walmart on the night that he was arrested. Some of these files show him following around women and children in the Walmart. Police believe some of the files showing children under the age of 12. Now, the report says that he also zoomed in on the behind area of the women and children that he was following through the store. Yeah, sir, you better hope and pray they put you in prison for your personal safety in Gen Pop, because parents in your locality are not going to take kindly to this. So you are very lucky that we believe in due process and are willing to at least even let you attempt to plead not guilty when we have videographic evidence of your guilt. So you benefit. Oh, crud. I just realized I've been focusing in on a fight for like 3 minutes. There you go. YouTube, that wasn't me. That was, Google, get mad at, or that was Yahoo, get mad at them. Well, in maybe in segregated, but he is benefiting from the fact that we are no longer an old wild west thing, that we are going to let his lawyer or his legal representative vigorously advocate for his constitutional rights, and we are going to make sure that he's allowed to plead not guilty. But then, bon voyage, douche canoe, we are no longer dealing with your ridiculousness and grossness. Now, this is a case that looks like it is possibly going to be getting a new life as far as a documentary, or there is new investigation that's kind of slowly coming out. Who killed Chandra Levy inside the unsolved murder that still haunts DC 24 years later? And I do remember when this actually broke. I was a senior in high school, and I remember thinking that this was going to be solved fairly quickly. In the spring of 2001, Chandra Levy was preparing to return home to California. The 24-year-old graduate student had just finished a prestigious internship with the Federal Bureaus of Prisons in Washington, D.C., and was looking forward to walking across the stage at her graduation ceremony. But on May 1st, she vanished without a word, a warning, or a clear trail. What followed was a case that captured the nation's attention. Levy's disappearance would end up destroying a congressman's career, captivating cable news, and ultimately going cold. In 2002, her remains were found in a secluded section of DC's Rock Creek Park, and in 2010, there was a man convicted but later cleared. 24 years after her death, the case still remains unsolved. Born and raised in Modesto, California, Levy was known for her intelligence, drive, and curiosity. She was earning her master's degree in public administration from the University of Southern California and had landed a competitive internship in D.C. with the Federal Bureau of Prisons. During her time there, she managed media inquiries in the lead up to the execution of Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh, a high-pressure role that gave her a glimpse into federal law enforcement communications. Now, her internship ended in April 2001. After her academic eligibility lapse, she made plans to return home to California on May 5th, but she never made it. Now, as soon as Levy's parents reported her missing, police began searching for clues. In her apartment, they found her purse, credit cards, and uncashed checks, nothing that suggested that she was intending to leave voluntarily. Then came a bombshell. Reports surfaced that Levy had been romantically involved with Representative Gary Condit, a married congressman from California. Now, initially, Condit refused to comment, dodging questions from reporters and avoiding interviews, offering little help to investigators. Under pressure, he eventually admitted during his third police interview that he and Levy were having an affair, although he never publicly acknowledged it. Now, media coverage exploded. Night after night, her disappearance dominated the headlines, but no arrests were made, and Condit was never named as a suspect. Meanwhile, theories abounded. Many believed that, Condit was responsible for her disappearance. A serial killer was blamed. People speculated that Levy had possibly taken her own, life. It was even floated by Vanity Fair, Donna Monique Dunn, that she was abducted by a Middle Eastern trafficking ring. Then came September 11th, 2001. As the world's, attention shifted, the Sandra Levy case faded from the spotlight. On May 22nd, 2002, nearly a year after she had disappeared, a man walking his dog in Rock Creek Park, a sprawling urban forest, found human remains, and dental records were able to confirm that the remains were Levy's. Her body was found in a remote, steep ravine far from any trails, and police recovered her sneakers, clothing, a pair of knotted black tights, which some believe might have been used to restrain and or possibly strangle her. But the conditions of the remains made it impossible to determine exactly what had been the cause of death, but authorities said that she was a victim of homicide. DC medical examiner John L. Arden indicated he could not find conclusive evidence that she had been shot, assaulted, stabbed, or strangled, all of which would leave possible detectable damages on the bones. One problem was that Levy's neck cartilage, which would have shown possibly whether she were strangled or not, had already decomposed. Now, because Levy regularly exercised, and her remains were found near a path used by joggers. Some speculated that she had perhaps been out for a run. Friends said that she normally ran on a treadmill at her health club and not outdoors. The site was about 4 miles away from her apartment. Former FBI profiler Clint Van Zandt noted that an 8-mile round trip would have been a long run even for someone as fit as Levy, unless she was killed somewhere else and her body was moved. Now, Arden, the medical examiner, said he could not determine whether the incident had actually taken place there or she'd been dumped there. Now, in a review of Levy's laptop, investigators found that on May 1st, 2001, the last day she is known to be alive, or she or someone using her account looked up general information about Rock Creek Park. Police say there was no evidence that she specifically searched for Kingle Mansion, an image on the page's homepage, which undercuts theories that she was either headed there or lured there. Now, the mansion is about 2 miles away from her body was found. Still, the discovery renewed attention on the case, and soon police had a new suspect. In 2009, investigators charged Igmar Guandel, an undocumented migrant from El Salvador who had been convicted of attacking 2 other women in the Rock Creek Park area around the same time that Levy disappeared. In 2010, he was convicted of Levy's murder and sentenced to 60 years in prison, but his conviction rested heavily on the word of a jailhouse informant, a man who later admitted that he was lying. So, the jailhouse informants are always one of the things that I don't always trust, specifically for this reason. Prosecutors rely on them when there's less cohesive evidence, and I don't like that. Now, by 2016, the case had fallen apart against, Igmar, and he was then deported in 2017. But basically, prosecutors announced that they could no longer prove his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Just like that, the Levy case was back to square one. I feel shattered, her mother, Susan, said. It's hard to accept that my daughter's death is a cold case again. Now, around the time that this man was convicted, local coverage and online chatter referred to the DuPont Circle serial killer, an unconfirmed theory that 2 late 1990 cases involving young professional women near DuPont Circle were connected: the 1998 homicide of Christy Marzan and the 1999 disappearance and death of Joyce Chang. Now, police never identified a single perpetrator linking those cases, and thus the serial killer label has no standing. Now, despite decades of investigation, no one has yet been held accountable for Levy's death. Gary Condon, once a rising star in politics, lost his seat in Congress in 2002. He later opened a series of Baskin-Robbins ice cream shops with his wife and children in Arizona and California. He has consistently denied any involvement in either her disappearance or her death. The Levy family has mostly stepped back from the public spotlight in recent years, but for those who remember the case, the questions haven't gone away. These wounds won't heal, Levy's sister Susan told People in 2016. I only wish we could get the person who took her. Someone knows something and they need to come forward. So, yeah, this is always with these cold cases. I always feel incredibly sorry for the family. I can't imagine the hell of not knowing answers, of not even, they know where their daughter is, but they don't know how she got there. And I can't imagine them not knowing, and what a private, personal hell that has to be. What in the Walmart rapture? Like, no, this is dumb enough that y'all go to Snake Island. Y'all go to Snake Island. I don't even want to deal with you. I think that Lord Chippy would get sick if it had to deal with you.
It's a curse. We've got room for the wicked, the cruel, and the worst. If you lie, if you cheat, if your soul's made of bile, you're bound for the fangs and the venom in style. Whoa, one-way ticket to Snake Island. Oh, where the cops, less cowards and gaslighters. No anchor, no lifeboat, no tearful goodbyes. Trust isn't uncommon in cold-blooded skies. Backstab your friend.
Of all the ridiculous and stupid motivations to take someone's life, this really, really has to just top the cake. Pure evil in flesh. Brothers tricked a man they'd met online and lured him to a park where they robbed and took his life for street cred. Well, let's be honest, you probably have more street cred with the dumb tattoos on your face. I mean, if I see you in my local Walmart, I'm not going down that aisle. But credit for being stupid isn't credit at all. Two Florida brothers will spend the rest of their days behind bars for taking the life of a man who met them online and established a fake relationship so they could take his life in order to establish street cred. Angel, which apropos is the most ridiculous name for one of these MFers to have, Angel Labato and Joe Labato, 24 and 23 respectively, were sentenced to life in prison after juries convicted them of the first-degree murder, armed robbery, and other charges in the 2020 death of Dane Frazier. Now, Angel received his sentence last week while his brother's fate was sealed in November. According to prosecutors, Lo Labato sparked a conversation with the 21-year-old online about a month before the shooting under the false pretense of a potential possible romantic relationship. But the Labatos had no intention of romance. They actually intended to rob and take the life of this victim because they saw him as an easy target. In doing so, they would earn their stripes in the street, a press release said. Now, Joe convinced Frazier to meet him after he got off of work in the area of Central Park in Winter Haven. As Joe and Frazier walked in the park, Angel lay in wait, armed with a baseball bat behind a tree. Now, the plan was for Joe to distract Frazier and for his brother to then start attacking with a bat. But Frazier decided to fight back, so Joe choked him out, according to police. They then shoved Frazier back into his car while Angel was beating him with a baseball bat. Angel advised that he leaned into the back seat and cut the victim's neck with a knife. So they then drove Frazier to an overgrown wooded area on Helicopter Road in Lake Wales, where they dumped his body, covering him with branches. Frazier's mother reported him missing on November 4th, and sadly, workers conducting environmental studies found his body about a week later. Police arrest the Labato brothers then 10 days later. Quote, these two brothers were pure evil in the flesh. Dane Frazier was just a good kid trying to comfort someone he met online, Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said after the arrest. They murdered him just so they could have street cred. I have no words for this kind of evil. My heart goes out to Dane's family. They raised a good young man, and they didn't deserve this. Judge Grady, right. Now, what in the Walmart rapture am I looking at here? A toddler's unaliver used a woman's wig and sunglasses to hide from the police hundreds of miles away. So he went full Shaniqua, is what we're saying? A man on the run from authorities was spotted wearing a disguise about 750 miles away from where he was wanted for red rum, law enforcement said. Diabolus Williams, 25, was charged with murder, Franklin County, Ohio records report. Now, the case stretches back more than 5 years ago from when 2-year-old Jameer Jones was found unresponsive in a Columbus, Ohio bathtub. On March 25th, 2020, officers with the Columbus Division of Police responded to a home due to a report of a child having experienced an accidental drowning in a bathtub. Now, when officers got there, Jameer wasn't breathing, according to Ohio Attorney General's office. He was transported to the hospital. Unfortunately, he was pronounced no longer living, and the case was promptly ruled a homicide. Now, body cam footage obtained by ABC affiliate WSYX showed William speaking with responding officers, reportedly telling him that the boy had just drowned accidentally, but authorities remained skeptical. The autopsy found that Jameer had not drowned. Rather, his death had been ruled a result of blunt force trauma. He was said to have bruises all over him and that his lungs were unobstructed. Now, an affidavit reviewed by the outlet stated that after Jamar had had an accident in his diaper Williams, who was reportedly the boyfriend of Jameer's mother and serving as the boyfriend's babysitter, took his anger out on this child. Now, nearly 5 years later, and roughly 750 miles east, the U.S. Marshal Service announced a warrant for Williams after he was believed to be in the city of Framingham, Massachusetts. On August 27th, around 8:30 a.m., a canine officer with the Farmington Police Department was walking into a briefing when he noticed a pair of individuals walking on the sidewalk, one of whom appeared to be wearing a wig. Now, officers kept looking at the person and came to the determination that the individual was wearing a wig and was indeed the male that the USMS, the Violent Fugitive Apprehension Section, were looking to and intending to arrest. Oh, good Lord, he didn't even have a good wig. That is a terrible wig. Today's arrest is a reminder that you can run, but you can't hide. Acting U.S. Marshal Kevin W. Neal said following the arrest, Mr. Williams thought he could evade arrest and accountability by hiding in Massachusetts. I hope today's arrest brings us one step closer to justice for a young child whose life ended tragically. Now, it showed a man. So, video from WSYX showed a man appeared to be Williams sprinting from the cops, tripping and throwing something believed to be a wig off his head, only for him to then surrender to an officer. Now, he has been formally charged with murder the week before. Farmington police showed the picture of the disguise, complete with a long reddish blonde wig, black sunglasses, and what appears to be a giant hair tie. Hallelujah and thank the Lord, Jameer's great-grandmother told a Columbus TV station. I've been praying for this for 5 years. 5 long years. Since 2020, I've been praying for his capture because I knew that he did it. Williams has been brought back to Ohio and was arraigned on Friday for the murder charge. It does look like he has a preliminary hearing set for September the 19th. So I am glad that this man can no longer escape responsibility. Yes, he is presumed innocent, but wheels of justice grind slowly but relentlessly. Well, in a famous kind of person for Lord Chippy today, former Red Sox pitcher Austin Maddox was sentenced to 3 years in prison for attempting to solicit a minor. Former Boston's Red Sox pitcher Austin Maddox has been sentenced to 3 years in prison after pleading guilty to charges stemming from an underage sting. Now, Maddox, 34, pled guilty Tuesday to meeting a minor to do unlawful acts and unlawful use of two-way communications device. As part of the plea deal, Florida prosecutors dismissed a charge of soliciting a child via the computer. Now, he will get credit for the 501 days that he has already served in jail. Judge Lindsay Tigert also sentenced him to 5 years of offender probation upon his release. He had been facing up to 5 years in prison. Maddox was one of the 27 people arrested as part of a multi-agency operation in April of 2024. They were accused of attempting to solicit grossness from children over the internet with people they believe to be children. So this is a sting operation. No children were harmed in this, but the gross, disgusting preverts thought that they were talking to children. Now, Maddox agreed to meet a girl at a prearranged location where he was promptly arrested by law enforcement officers. Maddox played college baseball at the University of Florida and was drafted by the Red Sox in 2012. He made his major league debut in 2017 after several years in the minors. He was on probation as a drug offender at the time of his arrest, and he was arrested in November 2022 in Bakers County. Yeah, bon voyage, douchebag. I wouldn't let anyone know why you're in prison, because that would be ugly. That being said, that concludes Lord Chippy for this Saturday. Now, this is on my bucket list. Marching band, not so much. This, hells yes, all the way. Many people dream about living like the Golden Girls, but these women actually did it. Rose, Blanche, Dorothy, and Sophia, the iconic foursome of the Golden Girls, which is about to mark its 40th anniversary since it premiered in 1985, had millions tuning in each week for razor-sharp retorts, laughter, and late-night talks over cheesecake. But for some women, the show was meant to be so much more. It served as a blueprint or to create or at least dream about their own version of their Golden Girls experience, sharing household costs and companionship with like-minded women in their later years. There's no shortage of posts on social media from women who plan to retire just like the Golden Girls or hope so in the future. As one person put it on Reddit, Golden Girls is the dream. As divorce rates among women 50 years old and older surge, and women outlive men by nearly 6 years, the idea of spending your later years surrounded by girlfriends instead of on your own is fairly compelling. Pop culture historian Maria Nicola says that the Golden Girls showed that family can be chosen and sharing housing is a possibility. It was the first show that showed older women having autonomy over themselves post-divorce or post-death of their husband at a time when the concept of women existing past menopause wasn't kind of really a thing. So, what's it really like to live like the Golden Girls? Women who have done it with their own versions share what they love about the experience and what stops the others from turning this dream into a reality. Although they're one housemate shy of the full foursome, Louise, Karen, and Jean, who are now in their late 70s or early 80s, created their own Golden Girls type of living situation in Pittsburgh. Uh, you know, Karen had been happily living on her own, but tells Yahoo, I started thinking that when retirement came, I might reach this point where living by myself was a bit isolated. So she asked her friend, Louise, if she'd be interested in sharing housing arrangements when they both retired. And then, Jean was right there, also keen. The women who met at church and were divorced in their mid-50s at the time. I don't remember who, but someone said, this sounds so good, why don't we just do it now? Rather than rent, the three women took a bold leap of faith by buying a property together. They found a beautiful 1936 brick southern home with beautiful gardens, bought it, and moved in. They opened up a shared checking account to cover the mortgage and household expenses, and every month each of them put in $1,500. The women lived there from 2004 to 2015 and even wrote a book about their co-living experience. My House, Our House, living far better or for far less in a cooperative household. So that's interesting. I mean, hey, I'd do it. I like it. I like the idea of, hanging out with friends and having a good, fun time. But this is a phenomenally long article, so I may do a, side video about it because it is an interesting concept, and I would like to see what worked and what didn't in their progress with a lot of people, a lot of families looking at, the possible wisdom of having multi-generational homes or the reality economically that we might be living in a multi-generation home kind of economy for right now. It might be interesting to look at, and I am glad that some women are making their dreams come over. And then, look, we needed a puppy kitten break. After this week, we all need a puppy kitten break.
When the world feels like a dumpster dive and humans forget how to thrive, take a break, just you and me, with a puppy and kitten, wild and free. Paws and purrs, let's drift away to a land where tails wag and play. No more noise, just gentle muse in our furry four-legged cruise.
A Burmese mountain puppy was just so excited over his mother also getting adopted. Most of the time, a puppy goes to their forever home and they never see their parents again. Now, most of them don't really care, at least not after a few days. They're busy with, learning their new lives. And as they get older, it doesn't seem as though they always miss their mamas all that much. But as you can see, this little guy is just stoked beyond measure that his mom also got adopted. Look at him. He's like, I remember you. Hi, mom. Hi, mom. Hi, mom. Guess what I did? I did so much today. You have no idea. However, if they can stick together, that is awesome too. On Thursday, September 4th, that's exactly what happened with one Burmese mountain puppy and his mom. They reunited just weeks after he made it to his forever home. Gabriella Easton's sweet little Burmese mountain puppy is going to be living with his best friend, and so is she. His mom was adopted by her best friend. Now, Hero is about 4 months old, and he's actually a golden mountain dog, a Bernese mountain dog and golden retriever crossbreed. His mom is a mountain dog, and his dad was a golden retriever. And after right now, he mostly takes after her. Now, as he ages, he'll get his adult coat and he might, change a little. Oh, now I want a puppy again. I do not need a puppy. I'm a bad puppy mom. I am a good puppy, petter and a good puppy admirer, but I am not a good puppy mom. So I need no puppy, but puppy videos, they do this. Now, he also gets to keep his mom, who was adopted by Gabriella's best friend shortly after he was brought home. Now, he'll get to see her all the time, and he loves his mom almost as much as he loves car rides. He's one lucky guy. His life is nothing short of awesome. Now, there are a lot of different breeders in the world, and their dogs live in a lot of different circumstances. Now, often puppy mills and other disreputable breeders will dump their dogs into shelters after they can no longer breed, while other breeders will simply list their retired dogs for adoptions through their website, as was the case here. Keep in mind that these dogs are often still, intact when they come from breeders, which may cause issues with other dogs in your home. But, that is another thing that I think we sometimes forget. Look at, older pets, look at pets that maybe, have already worked a lot in their lives. They really are, and JKD Buck, they really are, and I feel absolutely bad when I see kind of deplorable conditions. If you're going to take, an animal, you need to be responsible. That's kind of, again, that's why I know I'm a horrible puppy mom, because right now I can't walk. I can't do a lot of the things that a puppy would need. So I am in no way, ready to be a puppy mom right now. In one of our final stories, a non-native gecko traveled all the way from Portugal to Guernsey in a suitcase. A small gecko from the Mediterranean region found its way to Channel Island of Guernsey following a stowaway, situation in a traveler's suitcase, a local animal rescue said. The Guernsey Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals believes that the reptile is a Tarantola marginata, a common wall gecko from Western Mediterranean. Now, the BBC reported that the traveler found the gecko in their suitcase while unpacking after arriving from a Portuguese island. The GSPCA said that it took in the lizard and has quarantined it since it's not native to Guernsey. Also, because it would be difficult to return the gecko back to its native lands, the society has decided to find it a home, closer to home. We really don't know where we're going to have help or, where we're going to, put this gecko, but they have decided to name it Rosie, as you do. Do what now? Now, I'm not an expertologist in how children are made, and I do understand that reptiles practice parthenogenesis, where the mom can basically make copies of herself. But I guess there's no need to invite Maury into this situation. A zoo has announced the hatching of 8 iguanas with no father. She don't need no man. She's a strong, independent iguana. A British zoo has announced the hatching of 8 baby iguanas with unusual parentage as they have no father. The exotic zoo in Telford, England said that a female castle-headed iguana laid a clutch of fertilized eggs despite never having shared an enclosure with a male of her species. Now the eggs hatched in late August, and the zoo is now caring for 8 babies, which are all genetic clones of their mother. These little lizards have no dad at all. They're being born through parthenogenesis, the zoo said on social media. This means that the babies are genetic clones of their mother, an amazing natural phenomenon that occurs in some reptiles, invertebrates, and other animals. Scott Adams, not that Scott Adams, the zoo's director, hailed the hatchlings as one of the rarest events in the animal kingdom in a statement provided to CBS News. When we confirmed the eggs were fertile without any contact with a male, our jaws just hit the ground. These babies were essentially mini mom clones, and to see them thriving is incredible. Now, the hatchlings are currently being cared for by the zoo's reptile nursery and are expected to make their public debut in the coming weeks. So there you go. I mean, you don't even need a man if you're an iguana. Kind of, I mean, it is an interesting concept. I'm not a scienceologist, so I don't know exactly how parthenogenesis works, other than I'm just proud of myself that I can say the word without stumbling over it. But there you go. Now, in something you will never see Mo do for our final story, and I don't think that anyone should attempt this ever. Do not attempt to jump rope on ice skates. Look, this woman might be the only human that can do this. I don't. Oh, hell no. This is in no way something that Mo would ever do, but apparently this chick can jump rope on ice skates. Again, I don't recommend this. I struggle with gravity enough just trying to walk and breathe at the same time. But this chick is awesome. Like, if this is a mutant superpower that you have, rock on, Garth and Wayne. But if this is not something you're able to do right now, I would not attempt to try it this weekend. A champion ice skater from Hungary took her jump rope out on the ice and broke a Guinness World Record with her skate on. Etzer something last name from Hungary, who earned titles as both a junior and senior national champion in Hungary, went out on the ice in Sun Valley, Idaho, and performed 136 rope skips in a single minute. Now, the feat earned her a record for the most rope skips on ice skates in 1 minute, handily defeating the goal of 45 set by, the original person who thought of this feat. I want to inspire other ice skaters to perform and performers to dream big and show them that everything is possible if you're brave enough to do it. I I again, brave, reckless, and or coordinated enough. I don't recommend you doing that. That's just a Mo thing, but I'm not paying your bills, I'm not doing your insurance, and I'm not your mom. So if you would like to learn how to, you know, skip rope on ice skates, that is totally up to you. Thank you guys so much for joining this morning. I will be putting up the Final Form Jesus segment and stuff to be dropping on 3 p.m. I will have videos dropping at 3 p.m. Every day going forward this week. Probably not tomorrow. I will be recording these longer videos for you, but I will have longer videos, and I will have mornings with Mo on Monday. Everything else is going to be played by ear, and I appreciate you guys so much for your support as I go into these infusions, and send Flux some love. Thank you so much, you guys, for hanging out with me on a Saturday. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire, because you may be asked to, jump rope on ice skates, and you just have to be able to calmly look in someone's eyes and say, sweetheart, that ain't ever gonna happen. Bye, you guys.